Hello, and welcome to my first video of 2026. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday and a great New Year's. In this video, I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite images from 2025 and telling you the stories behind these images. January 7th, 2025. I was driving toward the coast to fly the drone and take some photos in Malibu when I noticed smoke rising from the ridge above Santa Monica. At first, I assumed it was a small brush fire, something that would be handled quickly. But as I turned north, traffic was pouring the other way, and emergency vehicles were everywhere. The smoke kept growing. It was clear this wasn't minor at all. I made a U-turn and pulled into a beach parking lot. Maybe 30 minutes had passed since I first saw the smoke, and now aircraft were flying overhead toward the fire. I got back in my truck and drove home. I didn't know how bad it would become, only that I didn't belong anywhere near it. The next morning, the winds were stronger than I had ever seen in Los Angeles. From my street in West Hollywood, I could see the Palisades fire and a sky thick with smoke. The sun was trying to burn through it. I grabbed my camera, not to document the fire, but to process what I was feeling. That night, a fire broke out in Runyon Canyon, less than a mile from my building. We weren't in the initial evacuation zone, but we were scared. We talked about what we would take if we had to leave. We didn't know where we would go. And then, unexpectedly, the wind died. Fire crews were able to contain the blaze, and somehow, miraculously, no homes were lost. While we were incredibly fortunate, many others were not. The devastation is still being felt today, as some try to rebuild what was lost, and others are forced to leave it behind. I had almost perfect conditions one evening at Mono Lake, not a drop of wind, and nobody else around. The day was cold, and the night was only going to get colder. By the time the sun started to set, I had on every layer of clothing I'd brought. Osiris, on the other hand, didn't even seem to notice the temperature dropping at all. I had been exploring the lake earlier in the day, and I already had a few compositions in mind, so I spent the next hour running from spot to spot, shooting and reshooting as the light kept changing. Every time I thought the light couldn't get any better, it did. The post-sunset glow intensified, or shifted colors. I came away with a few minimalist images of tufas that I really love, painted in that soft pink afterglow. But surprisingly, my favorite image ended up being a blue hour shot, with the eastern Sierras in the background. This particular tufa was just so unique. A similar image simply couldn't be made anywhere else, and those blue tones, they matched the cold of the day perfectly. And then, on my way back to my truck, I saw a wild horse grazing in the meadow. That was such a gift to end an already perfect evening. I spent almost a month in Iceland over 2 trips, traveling by camper van and trying to see as much as I could. But you can't see everything. There's always more. There was one waterfall I missed the first time, and I knew I had to come back for it. Burrafoss. It's in the Golden Circle, not far from where I picked up my van, so it became my first stop. After grabbing supplies, rebuilding my drone, and finding a campground, I'd been awake nearly 24 hours. I slept a few hours, ate, showered, and headed out again with the sunset still a few hours away. With no wind, the flies were intense, but the tourists had gone. By the time I reached the bridge below the falls, only a few photographers were there. Slowly, more arrived. Drones went up, a breeze picked up, and people started sharing space, sharing gear, taking turns. It stopped feeling like strangers and started feeling like a group. People from all over the world, connected by the same passion. I captured one of my favorite images that night, and I love it even more because of the conversations and the camaraderie that came with it. I love spending time in places without light pollution, seeing the night sky the way our ancestors did, the constellations, shooting stars, auroras, the Milky Way. It reminds me how connected we are, and how small we really are. Every year, I tell myself I'll do more astrophotography, And every January, somehow I make that same resolution again, because astrophotography is hard. You're working against weather, moon phases, timing, location, and then you have to nail composition on top of all of that. After a few trips to the Eastern Sierras for other projects, I finally planned a September trip during the new moon, just for this. I scouted a ridge above the buttermilk boulders with rock formations and a southern facing opening, and I knew it could work. One piece of advice I always give is to allow more time than you think you need, because everything moves faster than you expect, and places look completely different in the dark. Sure enough, I arrived late, power hiked up the ridge, completely out of breath, and nothing looked the way I remembered it. The Milky Way wasn't quite where I expected it. My original idea wasn't going to work, so I pivoted. I took a breath, slowed down, and reminded myself, even if I missed the shot, at least I was exactly where I wanted to be. Fortunately, I found focus. The test shot worked. I set up one camera running as a time lapse, set up on a second composition, and then, with a mug of mint tea, I sat there just watching the universe unfold. Insects are fascinating. They might be the closest thing to extraterrestrials that we'll ever meet. Not the ones that annoy us, but the quiet, remarkable ones, like this praying mantis. I found her on my front door one evening and gently moved her to my herb boxes, where green inchworms were devouring my basil and oregano. I hoped she might stay long enough to help. What I didn't expect was that she would stay for more than a month. After the pests were gone, she lingered. She would sit on the edge of my planters or on my hummingbird feeder, watching the tiny birds zip in and out, or me, with a curiosity and, dare I say, something that felt a little like intelligence. Every morning when I took Osiris out for a walk, I expected she would be gone, and every morning she was still there. I kept telling myself I should take a photo before she left, but life has a way of pulling your attention elsewhere. Then one morning, I found her hanging upside down from the feeder, perfectly still, perfectly framed, and I finally took the shot. The last time I saw her was this past November 1st, resting on my screen door. I like to think she was saying goodbye. Erica and I have traveled internationally together twice, Japan and Switzerland. For her, travel is a vacation. For me, it's a mix of rest and creation. So we found a quiet compromise. I wake up early, slip out with my camera, and she sleeps in. When I return, I bring breakfast. In Tokyo and Kyoto, I wandered the maze of alleys looking for 7-Elevens, Lawson's, and egg sandwiches. In Lucerne, I made the rounds of bakeries in the old city, sampling croissants and espresso. Along the way, I discovered some beautiful places. Lucerne is known for its wooden bridges over the Reuss, especially the Chapel Bridge. And every morning, I was out before sunrise, hoping the gray sky might finally break. Most days, it didn't. But on our very last morning, the haze lifted just enough. The sky wasn't bright, just a soft, surreal purple glow. And after days of exploring, I knew exactly where to go. I captured a few images, packed up, and stopped by a cafe as it opened. I came back with warm croissants and one of my favorite images of the year. It felt like a parting gift and the perfect way to end a bucket list trip.